Hey folks, today we're trying to show you how we can use Unified to create an automated candidate tracking system. But this is not a conventional system where we see so many examples out there, but rather a system that uses AI to minimize human interaction and make sure as much of the process from sourcing a candidate to scheduling interview with them is automated. Now, this is done with three integrations across Unified, through Unified rather. One of them is the Greenhouse integration. One of them is the Calendly integration for scheduling, as well as Unified's Gen AI integration, which will be giving us access to the GPT-4 model, which we'll be using to sort and grade these candidates. Now, to run you through how the system works, we will be fetching candidate information directly from Greenhouse in this example, and we will be scoring the candidates against a prompt and against a set of information given about the job role beforehand. Now, this scoring will be done through a prompt, like I said, which goes to GPT-4o through Unified's Gen AI integration. And if the candidate is deemed qualified for this role by the AI, what will happen is we will use another Unified integration to retrieve schedule links from your Calendly and send interview link to your qualified candidates. And the best thing is we've set everything up in a single code. It's a Node.js environment. And to get started, you'd need, as a prerequisite, you'd need a unified account with the Greenhouse connection enabled, a GenAI connection enabled on the Unified, as well as the Calendly integration enabled. Now, once you have this connection set up, I've set up a environment file here. We've gotten the Unified API key as well as the connection keys for GPT, Calendly, and Greenhouse. This is pretty much all you will be requiring from Unified's end. Now let's take a look at how we have set up the code. All right, so what I've done here now is I've switched over to my main application.js file. I've imported and set up the dependencies and the connection IDs from my environment file, of course. And what I've done here is I've created a webhook. Now, the reason for creating a webhook over a connection or over a request to the server side is so that whenever your application system or Greenhouse receives a new candidate, this application will automatically run. We can also create a system with a simple connection which fetches the data from Greenhouse if for some reason you have that requirement. But the downside of that would be it wouldn't auto run whenever a new candidate is pushed. Now, this what we have here is the webhook that I've created. And as parameters, we're passing the connection ID, the webhook URL, and the events that we want. Now, there's a bunch of events that you can look at for the Greenhouse integration. All of these are listed on Unified website. And once we've gotten all the candidates' information, thanks to Unified's integration, what we've done is we've used another function called score candidate, where we're simply giving a prompt to Unified's Gen AI integration. You can see the prompt right here. It says provide a match score between 0 and 100, and the passing threshold is 75. Go easy on the markings, especially if they have at least a bit of experience. Experience and description is all you should look for. These are just basically me giving instructions to the Gen AI model. Passed at least 30% of the people. Now, you can fine tune these requirements, but I've listed out a bunch of hypothetical requirements, such as passing at least 30% of the people to make sure that the AI doesn't become too tough, and also brief explanation in the following format. Now, this is the most important part. We in the prompt we ask GPT to give the results back in this format where it says score and giving a brief explanation. Now, once we have received that response in this format, what we're going to do here is we're going to log it to the console. We have a bunch of exceptions written down in case any of the connections fail so that we know what's going on. So that's the AI scoring function. And next we have the function which retrieves the scheduling link from Calendly. So once again, we're using the Calendly connection right here, and we're taking whatever the link that you have set up for interviews through Calendly to our code. And once again, we have an exception set up there in case some error gets thrown so that we know what went wrong. And we fetch this link as well. Now, these are helper functions, And now we're going to look at the main webhook, which receives data through Unified. Greenhouse sends the data to Unified, and Unified enables us to have simple connections like this with a plethora of applications. And in this case, we are getting the data from Greenhouse. So what I've done here is, while I'm getting the data, I've declared a constant here with the job description, which is looking for someone competent in mathematics and computing to work as an IT intern in a bank. Now that's our hypothetical job requirement. And what we have done here is we've taken the AI result and as well as the candidate. So we've taken the AI result, which gives the markings and the explanation, and we've used the score candidate function. We've called the score candidate function rather, and we are passing the candidate, the job description, and the connection ID for this function to run. Now, once we run this function, as you saw above, the function is going to return the result score as well as the result explanation in the format that we asked it to. So what we do is we check the AI results score parameter, and we check if it's more than 75. If it is more than 75, we call the retrieve scheduling link function, the other helper function that we wrote up there, and we're going to use that to get the scheduling link. So once we have gotten the scheduling link and we have the email of the candidate who scored more than 75 on the AI scoring, it's quite straightforward. You can write whatever the workflow here. I've dropped some comments here, but or you can simply get the system. If you don't want to create an automated system to send an email, what you can do is you can get the application to log all the emails to a console, and you can go through them and send the emails yourself if you fancy that. Um, what it does in the same process is it logs everything to the console. If there's error, we have a catch statement here, as well as if the candidate does not receive 75 or the candidate score is less than 75, we will log to the console saying candidate's name did not meet the threshold. That's pretty much it. Now, another way that you can sort of enhance this whole process is using Unified's function called enrichment, which is another unified integration which helps you to use information such as a candidate email to get more information. Now, we have a bunch of providers, information providers, that can look up that candidate's email and find out more details. Now that can, if you want to expand this system beyond whatever the candidate uploads to the system, and to look on the internet for what we have on the candidate, you can use the enrichment function as well. We've not used it in this example for the sake of simplicity, but that's once again something that you can use if you want to further, if you want to look into the candidate beyond what they've chosen to submit to Greenhouse. But that's pretty much it. We have also got a documented version of this demo. So if you want to take a look at how the codes are done, or if you want to take a look at anything specific, you can take a look at the written version of it. Thank you.